American 2938, clear the line, one less.
Utah is referred to as the Wild West for adoption.
Utah adoption reform advocates are raising concerns about what they say is a growing problem.
There's an increase in women being recruited from states outside of Utah and who are flown to Utah for the sole purpose of placing a child for adoption.
Taking pre-boarding passengers needing additional time or assistance.
They say Utah has become a destination for what some close to the issue are calling adoption tourism.
The women will be brought in from Louisiana, South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, California.
But they're not necessarily placing these children with Utah families.
Thank you.
Some adoption agencies, they say, are recruiting vulnerable pregnant women to the state with promises of housing, help with medical expenses, and sometimes even cash payments. They say the adoptive parents are coming from other states too.
It does raise the question of, are we paying women for their babies? And if we are, then we have a huge problem.
I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Taylor Stevens. Advocates tell me the root of the problem is Utah's permissive adoption laws, which are among the least restrictive in the nation. Now lawmakers are exploring ways to crack down on a system some worry has become coercive.
Right? I don't know where everybody went. Are they passing out pink ones?
No.
As Valerie Mayoral places flyers on the doors of a Layton apartment complex.
Just hoping it gets to the right people.
And sits at a table
It'll be good.
to provide information to birth mothers considering adoption.
We're just handing out flyers about Utah adoption rights.
She can't help but think about her own story.
It brings back a lot of, what I went through, and that's why I want to do it, is just to make sure no woman is alone.
In 1996, Mayoral was a high school senior when she came to Utah from Wyoming in the final weeks of her pregnancy to give birth and place her baby for adoption. Her family had connected with an adoption agency in Utah through her church, which helped coordinate housing with a host family.
I was by myself. I walked into that hospital room in labor alone.
Looking back some 30 years later, she sees how vulnerable she was.
You're going to a whole different doctor. You don't have that relationship. You don't have your friends. You're living with somebody you don't even, you have to trust everybody.
Mayoral now volunteers with Utah Adoption Rights, a group working to draw attention to so-called adoption tourism in Utah.
Go team! Okay.
She and other volunteers met recently at an apartment complex that they've heard adoption agencies use to house out-of-state birth mothers.
What do we want them to know? Their rights!
Ashley Mitchell, a birth mother and one of the co-founders of Utah Adoption Rights, says adoption is the right choice for many women. But it's important they go into that decision eyes open.
I believe that adoption should exist. I believe that if that feels right for the women, that they absolutely should make those choices, but they need to know what they're signing. They have the right to understand the long-term consequence of those choices, because adoption really is for life.
We want to make sure everybody's educated.
Mayoral's story shows women have long been coming to Utah from other states to give birth.
The Salt Lake City airport is smoke-free.
But within, I'd say, the past 2 or 3 decades is really when we've seen an increase in the number of these types of adoption.
Tara Romney-Barber works for the Children's Services Society of Utah, an adoption agency that does not recruit out-of-state women. But she and other adoption reform advocates are concerned about the practice and what they think's causing it.
Is our laws that are really permissive around adoption can also create a climate that makes it really ripe for fraud, coercion, and some of the negative things.
The root cause is lax laws in Utah.
Kelsey Vandervliet Ranyard is a birth mother who works nationally on adoption issues and is a co-founder of Utah Adoption Rights.
Utah adoption currently has the worst reputation in the United States. There are other states that also have bad reputations. They don't even come close.
Before a pregnant mother ends up in Utah for an adoption, advocates say her journey will probably begin on Google.
Top searches where we find these agencies popping up in: give baby up for adoption, get paid for adoption, pregnant need help with adoption, pregnant need housing. So they click on the ad, they fill out a contact form, and it feels almost immediate when you're going to get a call, a text, an email from one of the workers at the agency.
We'll take care of all of your fees, we'll put you up in housing, you'll get a stipend for your living expenses, and this can be really enticing to people who are struggling with poverty or other issues.
If a woman ultimately decides to go through with the adoption,
we've heard from some women that they do receive the cash payment as soon as, it could be a cash app, it could be cash in an envelope, it could be check.
Utah allows for reasonable adoption-related expenses to be paid to birth mothers who are making a plan for adoption, so long as there's no inducement of the birth mother. But advocates argue these payments test that ill-defined boundary.
It's a very fine line between human trafficking and a healthy adoption situation.
Utah law says any money paid to a birth mother has to be provided as an act of charity. Barber says that means a woman has the right to change her mind and parent her child without having to pay back anything she received in the process.
However, a lot of the women who are flown here from other states don't always know what their rights are in Utah and may feel like if I don't place my child for adoption or follow through on my plan for adoption, or if I change my mind, they're going to make me pay that money back.
As they seek attention for this problem, adoption reform advocates want state lawmakers to implement a number of changes. Utah Adoption Rights is calling for a longer waiting period before a woman can consent to an adoption, as well as the creation of a revocation period during which she can change her mind. They also think the state should require adoption agencies to be licensed as nonprofits and add greater restrictions around payments to birth mothers.
I really think that the financial aspects are really where we could make the most impact on this recruiting practice that we're seeing. I'm really concerned about.
Nothing's off the table right now.
Representative Katie Hall brought the issue of adoption tourism before the Utah legislature earlier this summer. Ahead of next year's session, Hall says lawmakers will explore ideas to address the problem.
We're trying to go right down the middle and make sure we're making it so we can still have adoption and be that family-friendly, adoption-friendly state without running into ethical issues.
We're gonna go around to the back side and work that way. Or you're going down, I'll go up.
In the meantime, volunteers with Utah Adoption Rights say they'll continue educating potential birth mothers from other states about their rights here in Utah.
Do you grab these ones? Yeah?
But they also want to make sure people who live here are aware of these issues as well.
So I think it's very important that our local community in the state of Utah cares about how these adoptions are happening and what that's going to look like, because at the end of the day,
in Layton,
did we walk alongside them in our own state?
Taylor Stevens,
whether they stayed here or not, and I think that matters.
Fox 13 News.
I hope that's the case.
Utah.